Hi, my name is Andrew Wozniak from the University of Delaware. I am the project and technical lead on the NERRS Science Collaborative project titled "Do Prescribed Burns of Phragmites australis during salt marsh restoration increase denitrification and carbon sequestration ecosystem services?" Up until just last week, Dr. Carrie St. Laurent was the collaborative lead on this project. She was at the Delaware NERRS. She has moved on to a position with NOAA, and I would like to publicly thank her for the development and execution of the project to this point. She will be replaced by Lynn Pusey, also from Denier. In the blue square here, or rectangle rather, I've highlighted Delaware. We're on the mid-Atlantic coast. And this project to date centers on partners focused in Delaware, but as we develop our resources, we may expand in terms of our end users. Right now, our project partners are Delaware Natural Resources and Environmental Control, Delaware Wildlands, Partnership for the Delaware Estuary, and Delaware Center for the Inland Bays. Phragmites australis, the common reed, is an invasive plant that has invaded many salt marshes on the east coast of the United States and elsewhere. It outcompetes native vegetation by outcompeting it for nutrients deep within the soils. And in the process, it degrades habitat for fish and fauna. And many managers in Delaware in particular are looking to restore these salt marshes. In Delaware, prescribed burns are utilized both to reduce fuel buildup and reduce the risk of wildfires, and also to restore native marsh habitat. When they do this, they precede the burn with herbicide applications and follow it with planting of native vegetation. An unfortunate reality of Phragmites australis is that it actually does offer some biogeochemical ecosystem services in the form of the storage of carbon, nitrogen, and potentially phosphorus in soils. During these burns, however, biochar is created. And biochar has been used in the agricultural community for a number of its positive physicochemical properties, including the sequestration of carbon, which has value for climate change mitigation, and the sorption of nutrients and accentuation of denitrification, which has the potential to store nitrogen such that it does not enter estuaries and impair water quality. So our project asks the question, do biochar inputs offset losses in carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus storage in the context of restoration of salt marshes? We have two technical objectives for our project. The first is to quantify carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus in cores from burned and unburned marshes. On the picture on the left, you can see areas of a marsh that have been burned over the last 5 years. Very conveniently, the marsh adjacent to this area, which is managed by the state, has not been burned. So we can compare the cores that we've collected, the carbon and nitrogen and phosphorus stocks, and determine whether or not these burning activities have added any of this carbon and nitrogen to the cores. We are also conducting experiments in these experimental plots pictured here on the right with a couple of my graduate students, where we've amended these plots with soils with and without this biochar. We'll monitor denitrification rates and assess whether or not the biochar is increasing this denitrification. The implication of an increase in the denitrification would be that the nitrogen is removed from the ecosystem and can't proceed out of the ecosystem into the estuary where it can impair water quality. With the information on these biogeochemical ecosystem services as a result of the prescribed burns, we'd also like to compile some information on prescribed burns and their impacts on other biogeochemical ecosystem services. The conceptual diagram on the left lists many of these ecosystem services, which are many of the reasons that we all value salt marsh ecosystems. And so compiling an understanding of how prescribed burns can impact these other services will help land managers make more informed decisions as to whether prescribed burning is right for them. In addition to that, we'll compile all this information in a technical document and a workshop that will discuss these ecosystem services, the logistical and regulatory requirements associated with burning, and any future research needs for marsh managers. Thank you.